Welcome to the Here's My Story channel. I'm Leonardo. One day while making myself pasta for dinner, my stepmother called me for help from the front door. Leonardo, come here quick! I removed the pasta from the stove and hurried quickly to see what she needed. She had just arrived from her shopping trip holding 1,000,000 bags. 3 taxis are waiting outside to be unloaded. Go get those shopping bags. Chop chop. They don't have all day. Every time my dad got his paycheck, my stepmom would go shopping and spend every penny. She bought so much stuff, she had to take several taxis home to carry it all. My stepmother is a shopaholic who buys things uncontrollably. It's a severe mental health issue. Compulsive buying disorder is the medical term for it. She gets anxiety attacks when she doesn't shop. Her face gets flushed and her palms get sweaty. She starts pacing around the house panicked. My dad has taken her to see so many doctors over the years. They all diagnosed her as a shopaholic. However, my stepmom refuses treatment each time, saying, "I'm not sick. I just like shopping like any other woman." To support her bad habits, she needs money. My poor father has to work 3 jobs to support her spending. My dad is a barber by day, a hotel receptionist by night, and a weekend flea market vendor. He has to work every single day of the week so that my stepmom can keep shopping. After bringing all her new shopping bags inside, I shuffled back to the kitchen to finish making dinner. My dad came home just as I sat down to eat. He looked exhausted. There were black circles under his eyes. I felt terrible for him. When he saw me, he closed his eyes and gave me a smile. "This smells so good. Don't tell me. I'll guess the ingredients from the smell. This is pasta pomodoro," he said. Of course, he was right. "Did you make your grandmother's or your mother's recipe?" he asked. "My mom's recipe, of course. She was the one who taught me how to cook. I always follow her recipes." "Ready to dig in?" I asked. My dad replied, "Nah, I'll get a snack at the hotel. I just came home for a change of clothes." He turned and left me alone in the kitchen. We lost my mom when I was 12. Our family is originally from Italy. My mother used to cook traditional dishes at home every day of the week. As a small kid, I used to find cooking rather dull. Mom taught me otherwise. She would say, "These dishes are a gift from our ancestors. We need to pay our respects to them by passing these recipes to the next generation." She taught me how to cook, and I memorized every recipe by heart. 3 years after my mom passed away, my dad remarried. Unlike my mom, my stepmom never cooks. She always orders out, which usually isn't a problem since I cook for myself. I make the fabulous dishes my mom passed on to me. When I walked into the kitchen, I saw my dad making an omelet one morning. He served it to me saying, "This might not be as good as the ones you make, but it's not so bad either." He then collapsed on the floor suddenly. "Dad! Dad!" I yelled as I jumped up from my seat. I called 911 immediately, doing my best not to panic as I told them what had happened. The ambulance arrived minutes later, and the paramedics took my dad away. As I was getting ready to leave, my stepmom woke up from her nap upstairs. "What's going on? You made such a racket. I couldn't sleep because of you," she complained. I told her what had happened. Can you guess the first thing she said? "But he has to go to work. If he can't work, you should start looking for a job." I got so mad I didn't say anything to her. I rushed to the hospital as soon as possible and found out how my father was doing. When I made it there, Dad was just waking up. The doctor said his immune system was on the verge of collapse because of extreme fatigue. He was ordered to stop any physical activity and rest for at least 3 months to recover fully. When we got back home, my stepmom found out my dad wouldn't be able to work for the next 3 months, and she was furious. She turned to me screaming, "You're not going to school anymore. Find a job and get to work. I need money. I need a lot of money." My stepmom began having a panic attack, overwhelmed by the need to go shopping. She snatched the last few bills from my dad's wallet and ran out. I started looking for a job the next day. I applied at a pizza place and landed an interview. Thanks to my mom, I landed the job. The restaurant owner tasked me with making pizza dough during the interview. He was so impressed with how I handled the dough that he said, "You were born to do this, my friend," and he hired me on the spot. My stepmom took all of my money at the end of the first month. After counting it, she said, "Is this it? You'd better find a second job where you can work nights so I can maintain our standard of living." When he heard this, my dad responded, "You're the reason why I got sick. I'm not going to let you do the same thing to Leonardo. Leave him alone." "Oh, shut up. If you're not making money, then your son will. Who else is going to take responsibility?" she growled. I loved my job. My boss was a great guy. One day I asked him, I have a special pizza recipe that my mom taught me. I'd like to make one for you and see if you'd like to put it on the menu. My boss loved the idea.
Sure, but I have a condition. How about we name the pizza after your mama, so that her name will live on,
he replied. Thus, Pizza Sofia was born, and soon after, it became everyone's favorite. One night, I brought a whole Pizza Sofia pie home for my dad. My dad got emotional while eating it.
So good. It's as if your mom made it. I love it,
he said. When my stepmom found out about the story behind the pizza, she was jealous. What kind of a name is Pizza Sofia? She grabbed my dad's pizza and threw it away. That pizza belongs in the trash. I'm sure it tastes like it too. She was totally wrong, of course. Pizza Sofia had become the signature pizza at the restaurant. Soon everyone knew about it. People came from all over just to order one. There was a long line in front of the restaurant all day long. One evening, after handing me my paycheck, my boss said,
"This is your last one."
I was shocked. Are you firing me? I asked. He took out a piece of paper with partnership agreement written on it.
No, I'm making you my partner. This is your success story, not mine. You're not going to get a paycheck anymore. You'll get to keep half of the money we make, and we'll change the restaurant's name to Pizza Sofia. What do you say, partner? He asked.
I was even more surprised when I heard the pizzeria was making thousands of dollars every day. If I were to become a partner, it would mean that I'd be rich. I was so happy when I came home, but was surprised to see my father wasn't there. I asked my stepmom where he'd gone. He went to work. How am I supposed to maintain our lifestyle with your meager paycheck? We simply need more money, she said. You have no heart. My dad isn't strong enough to go back to work. You're going to make him sick again, I screamed. I ran to the barber shop where my dad worked. He was sitting on a chair when I walked in, his face chalk white. Dad, why did you come here? You were supposed to be resting, I said.
You're right, son. I came here because your stepmom gave me a hard time. But I collapsed as I was trying to cut a customer's hair, he replied.
I took my dad to the hospital immediately. The doctor did a thorough examination.
It's better for him to stay here for a while. He needs special care, but the insurance doesn't cover it. Though, he can choose to stay home if cost is a concern, said the doctor.
I was suddenly thankful that money wasn't an issue anymore. I can pay for it. Please, do whatever is necessary, I replied. After closing the restaurant each night, I would visit my dad at the hospital. To my relief, he was getting better day by day. As the business grew, I bought a lovely house for myself. After spending most of my free time visiting my dad, I would return to my own place. One night at the hospital, I saw my stepmom in my dad's room. She didn't see me behind her. Enough with this illness! Get up and get to work! I can't keep living like some pauper. I'm leaving you if you don't start working by tomorrow. I was so sad for my dad, but there was nothing I could do. I left the hospital without either of them seeing me. This was something they needed to figure out between themselves. Finally, the time came for my dad to be discharged from the hospital. That morning, he said to me, "Son, I told your stepmother that I wanted a divorce. I need a place to stay while our case gets reviewed." This was the best news. Of course, Dad! You can stay with me forever! I picked up my father in my brand new sports car, eager to move my dad into our new home. My stepmom arrived as we were about to leave the hospital parking lot. She must have just found out my dad was being discharged. When she saw the car, her eyes went wide. "Is this yours?" she asked. I nodded, smiling. "You couldn't possibly afford something like this on a pizza cook's paycheck," she said. She then turned to my dad. "You told me you wanted a divorce, but I'm sure you did that only because you were angry in the moment. Let's go back home and have a nice dinner. Let's be a family together," she said. My dad and I looked at each other before we burst into laughter. She obviously thought she was giving the performance of her life, but she was such a lousy actor we couldn't help but laugh.
"I was dead serious," my dad said. "I'm going to live with my son from now on."
"That's wonderful," she said with a fake laugh. "Leonardo has a house too? Clearly you two have a lot of money now. I can manage it for the two of you. Give your new house the care and polish it deserves." He got into the car without saying a word. As we were leaving, she was still pleading. "Wait, honey, please. We can sort this out. I love you. I promise we can make it work. But I need money to give us the life we deserve." After that day, I never saw my stepmom again. My dad says she texts him regularly saying, "Let's be a family again. I'll get treatment. I will get rid of my shopping addiction. If she were telling the truth, I'd consider helping her. But we all know her history of manipulation. Maybe learning to take care of herself is exactly what she needs to get better.
I was surprised when I couldn't find my mom in the kitchen that morning. Mom, where are you? I called out. My mom whispered back, Shh, Melanie, please be quiet. I walked toward the sound of her voice. She was ducked down right in the middle of the living room. I whispered, What's going on? My mom was embarrassed. I'm hiding from Mr. Carter, she said. Mr. Carter, the landlord? Why? I asked. Because this is the second month I haven't paid the rent. Poor guy finally had to come knock on our door, she replied. Why aren't you paying the rent? I asked. I've been unemployed for 3 months. I'm sorry I had to hide it from you. I didn't want you to be upset, she responded. Suddenly, Mr. Carter began banging on the door. We looked at each other anxiously. We held our breath and waited for our landlord to go away. It was easier for me to find a part-time job, so I began looking for one the next day. I found a night position at a spa. I was going to collect the towels the clients used and take them to the laundry. Pay was low, but I was so happy to be able to help my mom. After school, I'd go home and do my homework. Then, I'd go to work. We were supposed to wear a uniform with a hat and an apron. I would change into my uniform and go to work. This was the first time I had seen a spa. This place was famous for its massages. Customers paid our monthly rent for an hour-long massage. We even had regulars that showed up every single day. I was surprised that people who could spend a fortune on a massage existed. It turns out there are people even richer than that. One evening when I went to work, I saw that there were no customers. I said to one of the massage therapists, Is the spa closed today? No one told me anything. The massage therapist said, The spa is open, all right, but we'll be serving only one customer today. She's the daughter of a very wealthy family. She comes here twice a month. The spa doesn't take any other customers that day. But don't worry, she's not a snob, even though she's a billionaire. She's lovely. After a while, the expected customer arrived. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was as if I was looking into a mirror. She looked just like me. She didn't realize a thing because I had my hat on. She smiled when our eyes met. I think you're new here. My name is Juliet. What's yours? She asked. I was still in shock. Melanie, I stuttered. So nice to meet you, Melanie, she said, and headed for the therapy rooms. There were bodyguards everywhere. About 3 hours later, I heard the bodyguard saying, Miss Juliet is leaving. After a while, I entered the changing rooms to pick up the wet towels. Juliet was still there, and she was crying. I'm so sorry. I thought you left. I'll come back later to get the towels, I said. Juliet wiped away her tears and said, Will you sit with me for a minute? I don't want to be alone right now. I sat beside her. She put her head on my shoulder. I have my graduation ceremony coming up next week. My dad said he would come, but then he told me he would need to be in a meeting in Argentina. Then he asked if I would forgive him if he got me a new plane. He's already bought me 3 planes. He does this whenever he wants me to forgive him and see that he cares, but he doesn't care at all. He doesn't even remember buying that plane. Then she looked at me. When you go back home, will you hug your mom for me? Mothers never do anything like this. I don't have a mother. If she was still around, she wouldn't leave me alone on my graduation day. I teared up. I don't have a father. I grew up missing him. My mom can't make it to my graduation either, because she finally found a job after a long period of unemployment. I don't think she can take time off. With a smile, Juliet said, I think we're going to be really good friends. We have so much in common. We have more in common than you think, I said, taking off my hat. Juliet screamed. I don't believe it! Girl, are we twins? I feel like I'm looking at myself in the mirror right now, she said. I thought the same when I first saw you. I said to myself, we are proof that everyone has a twin, and added, if you have a heart-shaped mark on your ankle, then I will definitely believe it. Juliet showed me her ankle and said, Of course I do. I'm proud of its shape. I'm proud of my mark too, I said, showing her mine. Juliet was so excited, she was out of breath. I was born on April 17th, 2005. You? I screamed. Me too! This was a really bizarre situation and couldn't simply be a coincidence. But Juliet said her mom died during labor. My dad died in a car accident when I was 3 years old. If we hadn't known about these, we would have believed that we were twins. I said sadly, Shoot, I wish we were twins separated at birth. I think there's still a chance. What if your mom is lying to you And my dad is lying to me. Maybe this is their biggest secret, and they're hiding it from us, Juliet responded. That only happens in the movies, I said, laughing. We can play a little game to figure this out. Do you mind taking your uniform off? Let's see if it'll fit me as well as it fits you, she said. When Juliet told me about her plan, I couldn't believe it. We were going to switch places for a day. I was going to go to her home. She was going to go to mine. We were going to figure out if my mom and her dad were lying to us or not. First, I began telling her all the things she needed to know to pretend to be me. What's our home address? How do I greet my mom when she gets home? What words do I use most? What's my bedtime? She took notes as I went on. My mom wasn't going to be able to tell she wasn't me. Then Juliet did the same and told me all about her life. We could switch lives now, and that meant I would get to live a billionaire's life for 24 hours. 10 minutes later, I was in a luxury car driving towards Juliet's family mansion. I was incredibly excited. When the car stopped, one of the security guards came running to open the door. When I saw how glamorous the house was, I yelled, "Oh my God!" Guards stared at me surprised. It made no sense for me to say that. This was my house. "Oh my God, I'm graduating soon!" I yelled again to distract them. I hoped it would make them forget my previous reaction. Juliet told me her room was the fourth one on the second floor, but there were so many stairs and rooms, I got confused. I began opening every door in the mansion one by one, trying to figure out which one was Juliet's room. I walked around in a daze, but I finally found my room. Juliet's room was twice the size of our house. I jumped into Juliet's giant bed. This was the softest bed I'd ever felt in my life. It was so big that if we were to have a slumber party, 10 of us could fit into it. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. A maid walked in. "Your father's waiting for you in the Lion Hall, ma'am," she said. My heart started pounding. Juliet's father could figure out I wasn't his daughter. I followed the maid, feeling scared. There was a big room with lion statues at the door. My father, actually Juliet's father, was sitting in a big chair. "Did you forgive me?" he asked, pointing to the seat right next to him. I was so excited that I couldn't say anything. I just nodded. "I'm going to get you a wonderful private jet. It will be so fast that you can have lunch in New York and dinner in Istanbul," he said. When I didn't respond, he said, "What's wrong, honey? Is that not enough? Then let me get you a helicopter that you can go to school with." I was tongue-tied. As I was looking around, I saw a painting on the wall. This was my mom. I got even more excited. Because I had switched places with Juliet, I couldn't ask who she was. Suddenly, the door opened. Juliet was holding my mom's hand. She was almost dragging her. My mom said, "Stop, honey, you're going to fall down." "Look, Dad, look who I dragged in," Juliet screamed. Juliet's father's eyes got wider. Juliet showed my mom the painting on the wall. "Mom, this is the painting I told you about. This was you, but my dad lied and told me it was a picture of a family elder. Thanks to this painting, I knew who you were right away," she said. Juliet opened her arms. "Melanie, my sister, we're twins. Our parents got divorced when we were born. Mom took you, and Dad took me," she said. I ran to her and we hugged. Then my father came and hugged us both. "Melanie, not a day has passed by that I didn't think of you. I can't tell you how happy I am. I couldn't even imagine seeing my two daughters together," he said. My father turned to my mom. "Miranda, please forgive me. I've thought of you every single day. At night, I cried my eyes out looking at this painting. I was a bad husband. Unfortunately, I became a bad father too. If you become my wife again, I promise that I will change," he said. My mom didn't answer. She just smiled. Then she opened her arms wide and said, "My lovely daughters." She held us in a warm embrace. That night was the biggest and happiest shock of my life. I still can't believe what happened. I found my lost twin and my father is a billionaire. I keep saying it out loud to myself to be able to believe it. My mom told me all about the truth she had to hide for years. My father wasn't there for our birth. My mom was in labor, and he was having fun at a club with another woman. She filed for divorce right away, but the judge gave one twin to my mom, the other to my father. My father lost her trace, but he never remarried because he was still in love with her. From my mom's story, I felt that she was both angry and heartbroken. More importantly, she doesn't trust him. My father comes to our house every day to beg my mom to take him back. She always refuses. At the same time, I can see that she loves him too. Juliet stays with us for most of the week. I'm not surprised at all that she leaves her billionaire life to come to our place. After all, her loving mom and twin sister are here. Like her, I am living my best and happiest life at the moment. I caught them in the elevator as the door was closing. It was packed inside, but I somehow managed to find a spot. Normally, I never take the elevator in the subway, but the subway line I was supposed to take was 3 levels underground. I'd lose so much time if I were to take the stairs. Half of the people poured out onto the next floor, and the other half got out on the following one. There were only 2 of us left in the elevator. As the door was closing, the other person said, "Let me guess, your backpack is full of textbooks, right?" I looked up and made eye contact with him. It was my childhood enemy, Anthony. I was about to hit him back with a, "I see you haven't changed at all. You're still incredibly annoying," when the elevator came to a halt with a jerk and the lights went out. "What's going on?" I screamed. "No need to panic. It's probably just a power cut. It'll be up and running in no time," he said. "I'm not panicking. I'm trying to understand what's going on," I curtly replied. I turned on my phone's flashlight. When I held it up slightly, Anthony's face was illuminated. He was staring at me smugly. "You're all grown up," he said. "You're all grown up," I mocked him, adding, "You sound like my old neighbor, Aunt Judy, when she saw me after a million years." When, with the same smug smile on his face, Anthony said, "You've turned out real pretty," I was furious. "No way! Ugh, what is going on tonight?" I screamed, turning my phone's flashlight off. Anthony and I were in the same class for 4 years, and every day of those 4 years, he found a way to make fun of me. Thankfully, we went on to different high schools and my life was saved. But as it happens, I had to run into him in a subway elevator that night. I was trapped in a broken elevator with him. And, as if that wasn't enough, he was trying to flirt with me. Why is the power still out?" I groaned. Suddenly, everything was illuminated. The power was back on. But a few seconds later, we heard a scary noise coming from the elevator, and the cabin fell down for a few feet. This time, it was Anthony who screamed, "What's going on?" Now it was my turn. "Don't panic, but it looks like we're still stuck here," I said. As Anthony was about to sit on the floor, he said, "It looks like you're still mad at me since you didn't skip a beat." Instead of snapping back at him, I began to hit every button in the elevator. Wasn't there supposed to be an emergency button for situations like this? But this elevator only had a button for each floor. Anthony took out a pack of cookies and bit into one of them. "Hannah, you were the best student in our class, and I was teasing you a little. Now that I think about it, I might have overdone it a little bit. But we were so young. It's all in the past now. We can still become friends," he said. Anthony offered me the pack of cookies. I was actually kind of getting hungry, but of course I refused. I hope someone upstairs is working on fixing this elevator right now. I don't want to listen to you go on and on down here, I moaned. I need to leave as soon as possible. My mom's in surgery right now. It's serious. I went home to feed the dogs. I need to be in the hospital when my mom comes out, he said. What's wrong with your mom? I asked. Anthony took a deep breath. They found a tumor in her brain, and it's a really big one. They took her in for emergency surgery. It's quite risky, but she has a fantastic surgeon. He promised me he was going to take out the whole thing out of my mom's brain. I trust him. Is your mom at Elmhurst Hospital right now? I asked. Anthony was surprised. Yes, how did you know that? I smiled and said, that's the only hospital you can take this line to, and my dad's the only neurosurgeon in that hospital. I'm going there as well. Oh, wow. Dr. Allen's your father? He asked. I nodded. My parents got divorced last year. I spend the weekends with my dad. He told me he had a long surgery today. I'm going to meet him at the hospital, and we'll go to his place after, I said. Anthony stared at the floor shyly. Hannah, I hope you won't mention the things I've done to you to your father. He thinks I'm a good kid, and I want to keep it that way. In that instant, the elevator jerked us again and swooshed us down for a few feet. This time we both screamed in fear. When the elevator got still, we looked at each other. Then we burst out laughing. This time, since we both screamed, neither of us could look down on the other for panicking. I looked up at the ceiling. There are two scenarios. One is somebody's trying to fix the elevator, or two, no one knows we're here, the ropes are going to snap anytime, and we'll crash to the ground, I said. Anthony looked up at the ceiling as well. Do you think I'll get reception here if I climb up above the cabin? You're very brave, as usual, but we're 1,000 feet below the ground. I don't think you can have reception down here, I replied. Anthony said, You think I'm brave? I don't know if you're aware of it, but you just said something nice about me, and smiled. I smiled back. Yes, you are. I can't deny that. Remember that day when we went on that class picnic and our teacher fainted? You didn't hesitate for a moment to go and seek help. You were the one who found those people at a nearby farm. We just cried our eyes out waiting for you. I regretted saying that the second it came out of my mouth. All my life, the name Anthony only had reminded me of bad times. But now I felt differently and didn't like it one bit. Anthony was my childhood enemy. I used to cry every night for the things he had done to me. I couldn't possibly forgive him so easily. I began to randomly hit the elevator buttons. Ugh! We're in the middle of the city, in a subway elevator. What are you waiting for to get us out of here? I yelled. Anthony held my arms and stopped me. You got angry with yourself for having a good thought about me, right? I took a step back to get away from him. Yes, you were a bad person back then, and I'm sure you still are. People don't change, I responded. I'm really sorry for everything I've put you through, but I have changed. And I think you know that pretty well, he said. I didn't understand what he meant. I know that? How? I asked. Anthony took a deep breath. Because... He started and stopped. Hannah, I'm going to confess something right now, but I'm scared you'll be mad at me, he said. Anthony, I think I'm all maxed out on that front. You can bet I can't get any more furious with you than I already am, I replied. Well, okay then. You and I, we've been chatting on Instagram for over a year. You didn't know it was me. I hid my real identity from you, he said, and I went into shock. Ryan? I said. Are you Ryan? Anthony nodded. Yes, it's me. I'm so sorry I lied to you. I was going to come out to you one day, but I just couldn't find the courage to do it yet. Tears started flowing down my cheeks. How can you say that you're a good person when you've been lying to me all this time? A good person would never do something like that, I said, sobbing. Anthony looked very sad. Hannah, I might have kept who I am a secret from you, but apart from my name, I never lied to you about anything. If we had ever talked about our past, I would have confessed that to you as well, but we only talked about the present and the future. You know Ryan's a good person. Ryan is me. If Ryan's good, then Anthony's good too. I mean, he became a good person with time. Please, you gotta believe that. I didn't know what to think. My childhood enemy had made a fake Instagram profile. He'd become one of my best friends with his fake identity. Actually, even though I couldn't quite admit it, I'd had a crush on him and been looking for a chance to meet him. But he, Ryan, was actually Anthony. When the elevator began shaking, I remembered we were still stuck. This time the elevator was moving up very slowly. It looked like we'd be out of here in a few minutes. Anthony was staring at the ground. We were both a little disappointed that the elevator had started working. I watched him until it reached its destination. If Anthony is indeed Ryan, if he was anything like Ryan, then he might have changed for the better for real. When the elevator door opened, a member of the staff asked, "Are you okay? This elevator needs to be replaced. This is the 4th breakdown this week. It took us a really long time to fix it this time around." We both thanked the guy. I turned to Anthony and said, "Ryan, we need to hurry if we want to catch the last train. Let's get to the hospital to find out how your mom's doing, but don't worry. I'm sure my dad did a fantastic job." Anthony laughed. Ryan? I like this. When we got to the hospital, we ran into my dad in the hallway. He was surprised to see us together. "You two know each other?" he asked. I didn't say anything to him about what happened in the elevator. I told him we were in the same class from the 4th grade to the 8th. My dad put his hand on Anthony's shoulder. "The tumor hadn't spread as we initially thought. The surgery went well. Your mom will be back to herself in no time," he said. Anthony held his tears back. "Thank you so much, Dr. Allen, and I'm so sorry," he said. My dad was surprised. "Why are you apologizing, son?" he asked. I'm sorry for being late," was all Anthony could say in the end. But I knew why he apologized. He wanted to apologize to my father for all the things that he'd done to his daughter. We went down to the cafeteria to eat as we were waiting for Anthony's mom to wake up. As I was talking to him, I realized that he had truly grown up and changed. Anthony really was Ryan. I think you all know where this is going. We're currently dating and our relationship is not bad at all. I crack up whenever I think about how this all started with us getting stuck in an elevator. Now I always choose to take the subway elevator instead of the escalator because I believe that it will bring me good luck.